After the virus outbreak, the girl retreated into her meticulously prepared underground safe house. With a floor area of 150 square meters, it was stocked with enough food, water, and medicine to last 5 years. Yesterday, a military squad arrived near the safe house to investigate the truth behind the virus but unexpectedly walked into an ambush set by the experimental organization. The girl later drove a swarm of bees to rescue the military personnel. Although the safe house had returned to temporary calm, the involvement of multiple factions had made the area increasingly volatile. After yesterday's confrontation, the battlefield likely held leftover items. If the girl could recover their communication devices or personal belongings, she might uncover more information. So after breakfast, she piloted the Hummingbird drone on a low-altitude flight over the combat zone. Soon, near where the unnaturally strong leader had fallen, she spotted a small black communicator, its screen still glowing faintly. She quickly adjusted the drone's position, hovering it above the device and extending its micromechanical claw to grip the communicator precisely. Then she pulled the drone upward and guided it back to the safe house. Equipped with a built-in signal jammer, the drone ensured the communicator couldn't be tracked. By 8:15 a.m., the communicator was placed on her operation table, though its screen had already locked itself. It required either a fingerprint or passcode to unlock. The only visible content was a prominent, unread message. Asterisk target X-16's memories have not yet recovered. If forced retrieval is impossible, priority is to prevent her from being taken by the military. Once her memories return, she will come back on her own. Asterisk. The girl stared at the message, her fingertips trembling slightly. Come back on her own? Why was the organization so certain she would return? Just then, Lucky leaped onto the table, interrupting her thoughts. If something couldn't be figured out now, she decided to set it aside for the time being. She needed to focus on what was right in front of her. After yesterday's clash, the military would certainly intensify its presence in the area, and the experimental organization would redouble its efforts to locate her. Facing these unknown threats alone would be difficult, so she needed a network, a force that could support each other in critical moments. She opened her computer and pulled up the data from her earlier drone reconnaissance, reviewing several survivor outposts. The farm stronghold originally had 15 people, now likely down to 9. They excelled at farming and construction. The factory group had around 20 members, with combat experience and weapon reserves. The Forest Park RV camp was highly mobile and skilled at covert operations. Each group had its strengths but lacked unified coordination. The girl decided to bring them together. She wrote a brief message on paper. Asterisk. The lab organization is hunting survivors. You've likely heard what happened at the farm. We need to cooperate. If you are willing to ally, please turn your radio to 87.6 MHz at 3 p.m. today. The Watcher. Asterisk. She rolled the note tightly and placed it into the drone's delivery compartment, setting the flight route. The Hummingbird drone flew to each of the 3 outposts in turn, accurately delivering the messages. Then the girl tuned her radio to 87.6 MHz and waited quietly. At 2:45 p.m., static crackled over the radio, followed by responses from all 3 outposts expressing willingness to form an alliance. Over the next 2 hours, they established a simple coordination system, intelligence sharing, material aid, and when under attack, the nearest group would provide covering fire or evacuation routes. Though loosely connected, this network meant she was no longer fighting alone. At 6:20 p.m., a young girl's voice broke through on the radio, pleading for help. She said a group of people in black were pursuing her and that she was hiding in an abandoned gas station about 5 kilometers southwest of Central South Highway. She added that she seemed to have awakened an ability, she could sense people and distances around her. To prove it, she accurately stated the numbers of people at the farm, the factory, and the Forest Park camp. She even sensed that the girl was underground. Hearing this, the girl's pupils constricted slightly. Not only was this ability real, it was significant. She could not let this girl fall into the hands of the experimental organization. So the girl called on the other outposts to join in rescuing her, arguing that her ability could help everyone survive better. After receiving agreement from the other groups, they quickly formulated a rescue plan. By 7:30 p.m., the farm group was tasked with creating an explosion east of the highway to divert some of the pursuers. The factory team lay in ambush along the escape route to provide cover. The RV camp's vehicles were responsible for extraction, while the girl used the Hummingbird drone for aerial reconnaissance. The operation went surprisingly smoothly. When the farm group set off homemade smoke bombs, the pursuers in black were drawn toward the disturbance. Footage from the drone showed the girl, who called herself Alice, climbing out of a back window of the warehouse and sprinting toward the highway. She jumped into an RV through its rear door, and the vehicle sped away. Thanks to the team's coordinated efforts, Alice successfully shook off her pursuers and found temporary shelter with the RV camp. At 9:50 p.m., Alice's trembling voice came over the radio again. She thanked the team for rescuing her and offered to use her ability to assist the alliance. But then she quietly added that she couldn't use her ability frequently, her body had been growing increasingly weak and stiff lately. The girl's heart sank. Alice's genetic instability matched the descriptions in the experimental organization's files exactly. By 11:30 p.m., the girl lay in bed staring at the ceiling, lost in thought. Alice's ability was incredibly valuable, but her genes were deteriorating, and the answer to curing her might lie in the girl's own blood. Should she save her? Could she be trusted? Outside, the night wind rustled through the trees. She didn't know what tomorrow would bring, but tonight her hidden network was weaving itself together, and her secrets remained buried deep underground.